For more than 14 years, Michael Media has been publishing Huami Magazine, and you can find it at businesses around the Triad, and you'll really learn something about the people who live right here in our community. And not only that, you'll learn something about a growing community, in fact, across the country. Terry Watson is the founder of Huami Magazine. So how did this all get started for you?
Back in 1997, I had a conversation with God, and He gave me a vision to publish a magazine. So I took that charge and began to ask questions, studied the industry, enrolled in community college courses, and 10 years later, the first edition came out.
So what really was the vision? What new thing did you want to bring to the magazines, and particularly here in the Triad in Greensboro?
Pretty much what I was, my goal was to introduce business owners to the interior community of Greensboro. There were a lot of small business owners who couldn't afford traditional advertisement rates, so I wanted to provide a platform and give them an opportunity to share their story, share their experiences, as well as market and promote amongst themselves.
So tell us about the very first one that you published.
The very first one is a young gentleman. He's a musician, had a clothing line. So I worked with him. He was probably a college student at the time. Just getting my feet wet. I was fortunate to bring a writer on board and found a photographer. So I took those images, took the information, and produced the magazine. I featured a local pastor. Of course, the publication was full of mistakes, had a lot of errors, but I didn't stop. I didn't get discouraged, and I took the feedback and criticism and used that to produce the second one. And now, 14 years later, we have many editions under our belt.
And not just here in Greensboro.
Absolutely. So we're in Indianapolis currently. We're in Tennessee, Virginia, South Carolina, Georgia, Arkansas, and Texas, and we're currently growing.
And when you turn the pages of the magazine, I mean, they're beautiful photographs, they're beautiful stories about people that are your neighbors that you might not know are doing some really amazing things.
Absolutely. It's my belief that everybody has a story to tell. There's a story behind every business, and I work really hard, my team and we work really hard to get that information from individuals, make them comfortable, and share it in a very professional and colorful way.
So what is your story? What were you doing before the magazine publishing business?
I grew up, I always had creative skills. I always liked to talk and write and wanted to be a rapper, but I never found a way to utilize all the skills and talents that God had given me. And fortunately, like I said, I had a conversation back in 1997. God gave me an opportunity to bring them all together by the means of producing a magazine. So my background is art, writing, a little bit of everything. I danced, I've done a lot of things, so now I'm able to use my creativity to produce a magazine, and I have people skills. I love to talk, so it all makes sense now.
When people pick up the magazine and flip through the pages or even read it online, what do you want them to take with them?
The foundation of Huami Magazine, we try to produce inspiring stories. So we really want the reader to be able to look into the lives of this business owner or this professional individual or just any ordinary citizen and see exactly who they are, what they've been through, what they've accomplished, and with the hopes of inspiring the reader of doing something similar or reaching another reader who may be sitting on a business idea or thinking about starting something new. This is a tool or resource that you may use to actually provoke you to push you in that direction.
So 14 plus years into this, are people coming to you now, or are you still going out and finding those stories?
I do both. The magazine definitely sells itself now, but I still get a lot of excitement. I'm very thrilled about finding new folks on my own. So we do a lot of cold sale calls and reaching out to folks that we haven't met yet, but the magazine does pretty well selling itself.
And what's next for you?
Still the magazine, man. Right now, until God gives me something else to do, it's really Huami Magazine and Michael Media Company.
And you're doing a podcast too?
Yeah, absolutely. The podcast is a supplement to the magazine. Individuals that we feature in the publication, we bring them on to the podcast and allow them an opportunity to be heard. Not only read in the publication, but now you can talk, and my readers can see hear exactly what you sound like.
Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing a little of your story. Thank you for sharing all these stories. It really is a wonderful magazine. Do pick it up. You can find out more about it, where to pick it up. You can look at it online as well. Go to michaelmedia.com.